What do Paul Rudd, Tyra Banks, Busta Rhymes, Rob Zombie and Octavia Spencer have in common? If you said that none of them were in the film Labyrinth, not only would you be 100% correct, but you'd also be raising an important question. What if they were?
Through dangers untold and hardships unnumbered.
Come inside and have a nice cup of tea.
I saw my baby crying hard as babe could cry.
I don't want that thing back in my mouth.
Ludo, down.
On tonight's episode of All the Gory Details, we take a look at several films starring these noted actors, rappers and models, and those films happen to be the remaining 5 films in my 2-part look at the Halloween franchise. G'day gore whores and welcome to part 2 of my look at the Halloween series. For Gory Details newbies, beware, in every episode there are spoilers galore, so if you haven't seen any of these movies, and also season 4 of Game of Thrones, I'd advise you to watch them all first and come back for some gory fun times. Halloween 6, what can I say? It makes no fucking sense. At the end of Halloween 5, Michael was busted out of the joint by a man in black. In Halloween 6, Jamie Lloyd is played by someone that's not Danielle Harris. Anyway, fake Jamie is being captured by what appears to be the Man in Black's druidic cult and is about to give birth. Whoa, hold up. Jamie was 8 years old in Halloween 5. This is set 6 years later. That would make Jamie 14 and giving birth? Oh, that's unpleasant. Anyway, fake Jamie gives birth to a son and they escape the cult with Michael in hot pursuit. Fake Jamie finds an abandoned bus shelter and calls into a radio station to alert Doc Loomis to Michael's return, even though the police would have been a far more sensible option. FJ drives off again, crashes into a barn and gets impaled by Michael on a corn thresher. Aww, bye bye fake Jamie. Our new final girl is Cara Strode, Laurie's cousin, who lives with her parents Deborah and her cartoonishly horrible dad John, cute brother Tim, and son Danny. The Strodes all live across the road from none other than Tommy Doyle, the kid that Laurie babysat in Halloween Part 1 who is now all grown up and played by Paul Rudd. Tommy is now obsessed with Michael Myers and heard fake Jamie's call from the bus station, where he finds she's left her son. Tommy takes her son and runs into Doc Loomis and informs the good doctor that the Strodes are now living in the old Myers house. Doc Loomis calls on Deborah to warn her that she's living in Casa del Myers, but before she can pack up and leave, Michael hunts her down and kills her. My glasses! I can't see without my glasses! Ah! Cara finds Danny hanging out with Tommy, who explains that Michael has an ancient druid curse on him, which causes him to hunt down his next of kin each Halloween, and that Danny is next in line to be cursed. Michael continues his killing spree, offing John, yay! Tim, aww, Tim's girlfriend Beth, tits, and the annoying radio DJ. We find out that the Man in Black is actually old Dr. Wynn, who ran the asylum that held Michael when he was a kid. The cult kidnaps Cara, Danny, Michael and baby Stephen and takes them to the asylum. Tommy shows up and frees Cara and co, and Michael slaughters Dr. Wynn and every last one of his staff. Michael corners our heroes in a lab and Tommy injects him with chemicals and beats the living snot out of him with a lead pipe. Doc Loomis says he has to go take care of business and we are left to assume that Michael is finally taking care of the Doctor once and for all. Halloween 6 was full of production issues and was disowned by many of the actors. The result was this clusterfuck of a film, which sadly was Donald Pleasance's last movie. Good old Halloween H2O, the Dawson's Creek of the Halloween franchise. This flick was Jamie Lee's return to the franchise and also features a bit part from Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who has all of 5 minutes screen time at the start of the movie before getting completely owned by Michael, making this the second time someone with dead eyes has owned Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So we find out that Laurie Strode has not been dead all this time and has actually been living under the identity of school headmistress Kerry Tate. She is her 17-year-old wayward son John, played by a fresh-faced Josh Hartnett, and apparently didn't care to find out whatever became of Jamie. You know, her daughter. Halloween H2O actually picks up 20 years after Halloween 2 and ignores the events of the other 4 films, so that whole Jamie Druid thing never actually happened. Don't you feel like that was time well spent watching those now? I bet you don't feel cheated out of your time at all. Anyway, Laurie has been hitting the pills and the booze pretty hard because after she got in the ambulance at the end of Halloween 2, it appears PTSD finally did kick in for Jamie Lee. Josh is getting tired of his overprotected mother's paranoia, and unbeknownst to Laurie, he plays hooky from the school field trip to hang with girlfriend Molly and best buds Charlie and Sarah. Fast forward, and thanks to some shitty security work from LL Cool J, Michael is stalking the gang all over the school, offing Charlie, then Sarah, And Laurie stabs Michael multiple times and sends him flying off a balcony. The cops and the Ambos show up, and just as they're loading Michael's body into the ambulance, Laurie steals it and drives off. Michael wakes up and Laurie drives the van off a cliff, trapping Michael, letting her decapitate him with an axe, finally killing her brother once and for all. But there's another movie to go, so not really. At this point in the series, the plot started getting even more stupid, and considering we've had druidic cults as the source of Michael Myers' strength already, that's an achievement. In Halloween Resurrection, we find out that Laurie decapitated the wrong guy at the end of H2O and actually killed an innocent paramedic with whom Michael had switched clothes. Now she's in the nut house, Michael tracks her down, and just when we think that Laurie's finally taken care of her pesky brother, he turns the tables and kills our favourite final girl. Busta Rhymes is a TV producer for Dangertainment, a company that produces online reality TV. This must have felt so relevant and cutting edge in 2002. And together with his associate producer Nora, played by Tyra Banks, the two plan on shooting a reality TV series in the old Myers house. We meet our budding victims, Final Girl, Sean Patrick Thomas, Boring Bill, some intense Tori Amos facsimile, Horny Jim, and Katie Sackhoff. At this point, nobody really cares what happens, but the general gist is that the camera guy gets knocked off, followed by Boring Bill, then Tori Amos and Horny Jim start to get busy, and are interrupted by a falling pile of fake bodies. Tori gets knocked off by Michael, Starbuck discovers Bill's boring body and quickly gets decapitated. Horny Jim gets the Oberyn Martell treatment, and Sean Patrick Thomas saves his last dance for Michael. See what I did there? Who pins him to a door with some kitchen knives, and pretty soon it's Buster and the Final Girl that are the last ones left, trying to avoid getting skewered. Final Girl escapes to the garage where she finds Tyra's body. Aww, I was hoping for more from you, Tyra.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
Tyra's lack of screen time really was a waste of what could have made the movie even scarier, considering we already know how scary she can be. Anyway, Buster electrocutes Michael, trapping him in the burning garage, killing him. He gets carted off to the morgue, and just as they're about to start the autopsy, guess who wakes up? Halloween Resurrection is not in the least bit scary, unless you count Katie Sackhoff's attempt at playing a ditzy girly girl. Now, because the franchise had reached peaks of ridiculousness, and also because gritty reboots had become trendy, Rob Zombie rebooted the franchise in 2007, giving Michael a fuller backstory and upping the violence. Little Mikey Myers shows early signs of being a psychopath and is in serious need of a haircut. I mean, really, who would let their hair get into such a state? After being pushed too far in his trailer trash life, he offs the school bully, then his mother's boyfriend, his sister, and her boyfriend. His mum comes home to discover what has happened, and Michael's carted off to the nut house and is put in the care of Dr. Sam Loomis, this time around played ably by Malcolm McDowell. Sherry Moon Zombie actually gives a decent performance full of pathos as the unfortunate Deborah Myers, who kills herself in guilt after she sees what a monster her son has become. Fast forward 15 years and Michael has grown up, now played by sexy bear Tyler Mane. Clearly being catatonic hasn't stopped him from going to the gym. Michael escapes from Smith's Grove, killing several guards in the process, including Machete. From here on out, things progress much like the first Halloween, albeit with a higher body count. We meet Laurie Strode 2.0, played by Scout Taylor Compton, along with her friends Annie Brackett, played by Danielle Harris, who makes her return to the Halloween franchise, and Linda Vanderklok. Linda and her boyfriend Bob spend the night in the Myers house with predictable results, including recreations of Bob's death and ghost costume, and PJ Soul's famous topless line. See anything you like? Laurie's adopted parents get knocked off, and as Annie and her boyfriend go to get busy, Man Candy gets knocked off and Annie is attacked by Michael. Michael kidnaps Laurie and Doc Loomis finally shows up and shoots Michael, lulling us into a false sense of security until Michael re-kidnaps Laurie and tries to give Doc Loomis an Oberyn Martell treatment as well. I guess it's kind of his thing. Laurie grabs Doc Loomis's gun and after a big chase through the rafters, shoots him square in the face. The production values and performances from Sherry Moon Zombie and Malcolm McDowell really added to this film. The violence tends to feel a tad overdone at times, and Zombie seems to favour gore over chills. Michael's more fleshed out backstory adds some character development to the film, but there is something about the original story where Michael came from a good family and suddenly turned evil one day that's just so much scarier. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I can't. I really can't. I hated this movie so much. It got rid of everything I liked about Rob Zombie's first Halloween movie and turned the rest of it into a surly goth teenage fantasy. Laurie has survived her ordeal from the previous Halloween movie, but is now dealing with the mental scars, having nightmares starring Octavia Spencer, and is hitting the prescription pills in the bottle pretty hard, but not in a waspy way, drinking Chardonnays at lunch like in Halloween H2O, but more of an annoying Kristen Stewart on crack kind of way. Laurie's been treating everyone who is trying to help her like shit, including her therapist and the people keeping a roof over her head, Sheriff Brackett and Annie, who have also survived the previous movie. Michael's been out living off the land, and now that Halloween is once again approaching, he's seeing visions of his mother in full Stevie Nicks garb, egging him on to finish his sister off. Doc Loomis has also survived his head smushing and is now turned full douchebag, milking everyone's personal tragedy for his own benefit. Basically, you can't help but stop caring at this point, as the most likeable characters from the first movies have become utter douche canoes. Annie Brackett and her father are the only ones that you really feel for. Michael comes back to town and starts another killing spree, the most notable victim being poor Annie. Michael once again kidnaps Laurie and takes her to an abandoned barn where he's been hiding out. The cops and Doc Loomis all arrive on site, and Doc breaks the police line and makes his way into the barn in one last attempt to redeem himself. Now, in the ending I saw, which was the unrated director's cut, Michael kills Doc Loomis in a struggle and the police snipers shoot Michael. Laurie emerges from the barn, picks up Michael's knife, and as she stands over Doc Loomis's body, the snipers get trigger happy and blow her away, leaving her dying to the tune of Love Hurts as her visions return to Sherry Nicks walking her horse down a hallway. I wouldn't normally recommend another reboot of a franchise, considering the franchise was already rebooted in the last 10 years, but Halloween could really do with one, as it can't truly recover from Rob Zombie's treatment. It seems like the franchise can't survive without Laurie Strode. Resurrection was a mess when she left, and had to be rebooted shortly after, which is much the same case here. Well, that's our look at the Halloween franchise. To watch part 1, click here. If you're new to all the gory details and you want to know more about the channel, click on my intro video here. Next week I'm going to streamline the episodes, cutting proceedings down to one movie per episode. But as a teaser, I let you know that we'll be looking at a newer movie that isn't so much a B movie as it is a D movie. Thanks for watching, Gore Whores. Stay tuned next week for more horror-y goodness.